Hi there, this is Mr. Jones, and I'd like to help you today with variables on both sides of an equation. Okay, now when the variable exists on both sides of an equation, you need to use addition or subtraction to collect the variable on one side. Okay, the ultimate goal, of course, is to find the value of the variable, and to do that we need to isolate it, to get it by itself. Okay, well, let's look at an example. Suppose you have the equation 3x plus 7 equals 7x minus 5, and you see I have the variable x on both sides of the equation. Okay, now I need to get the variable onto one side. So I have two choices. I can subtract 7x from each side, or I can subtract 3x from each side. Either one will work. My rule of thumb is generally to remove the variable with the smaller coefficient. Okay, so in this case I'm going to subtract 3x from each side. So that's going to look like this. Let's see. 3x minus 3x plus 7 equals 7x minus 3x minus 5. Alright, once I've done that, I can combine the like terms. Of course, 3x minus 3x is 0, so that leaves me with 7. And on the right side, 7x minus 3x is 4x, and 4x minus 5. Okay, well, the variable now is on one side, and that's good, but I need to remove everything else from that side, so I'm going to add 5 to each side. So that's going to look like this. 7 plus 5 is equal to 4x minus 5 plus 5. And then, of course, I want to simplify. 7 plus 5, that's easy enough. That's 12. Minus 5 plus 5, of course, is 0, so that leaves me with 4x. And now that I'm at that point, I can find the value of the variable by removing the coefficient. I simply divide each side by 4. Okay, so let's just put a division mark there and divide each side by 4. 4 goes into 4 one time, of course, so that leaves me with x. So the last step is to simplify, and 4 goes into 12 3. So usually we'll want to turn the equation around and put the variable first, so x is equal to 3, and that's my answer. And then, of course, you can go back and check to see whether or not that is the answer by plugging in the value 3 times 3 plus 7 equals 7 times 3 minus 5. And let's just put a question mark there to see whether or not that's true, because we're checking the equation. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 7 is equal to 7 times 3 is 21 plus 5. That should be a minus 5 there. So sorry. Let's clean that up a little bit here. Minus 5. Okay, so 9 plus 7 is 16. And 21 minus 5 is indeed equal to 16. So that tells me that 3 is the correct solution. It works in the equation. Alright, well, here's a second equation then. Minus 15 plus 6y is equal to minus 8y plus 13. Why don't you go ahead and see if you can work that out using the method that we applied above. And then when you're ready, hit continue, and I'll check your results. Or perhaps I should say, you can check my results. Okay, well, notice it looks at first glance like 8y is bigger than 6y, but it's a negative 8y. And remember that negative numbers get smaller as the number actually gets further from 0. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to add 8y to each side. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the smaller variable first. So negative 15 plus 6y is the left side. I add 8y to the left side, and I add 8y to the right side, and then I simplify. 6y plus 8y is 14y. Negative 8y plus 8y is 0, so that leaves me with the equation negative 15 plus 14y is equal to 13. And now I can solve it like any other two-step equation. I want to isolate the variable, so I'm going to need to eliminate the negative 15. So I'm going to add 15 to each side. And then I can simplify that. Negative 15 plus 15 is 0, of course, so that leaves me with 14y. 13 plus 15 is 28. And then I can simply divide each side by 14. 14 goes into 14 one time, and that leaves me with y. 14 goes into 28 2, so therefore y is equal to 2. Okay? That shouldn't be too difficult to simply add one more step to our equation solving repertoire and learn to deal with equations that have variables on both sides. Okay? So I urge you to work carefully and work well.